Yep. Inventory's staying higher than we like. It's expected, I guess. I mean, what I wasn't expecting, and I'm going to zoom in on this for you, is that townhouses across the entire marketplace of Surrey, they're increasing. They're increasing in months of inventory, while condos are actually the thing that is coming down. So there's less condos available for the market in relation to how many are selling. As such, also for houses, but townhouses are the story. That being said, with townhouses being the story, they are still in the best market. They are barely a buyer's market. Well, depends who you talk to. The BCREA says that 7 months of inventory is where the buyer's market starts. I think it happens at 6. I think it really happens at 5.5. Nah, let's go back. Let's say it's 6. But there you are. The blue line. The blue line there is detached houses across the city of Surrey. The red line is apartments, and the green line is townhouses. Townhouses have gone back up, just in line with active listings. So this is now active listings. Same chart. Look how close these look. Month supply, active listings, total correlation. But what is it you really want to see? What is it you really care about? It's the price. And just to illustrate exactly how this price is going, let me zoom out. Obviously, if you go in at the 1 year mark, doesn't look like things are that bad. It looks pretty good. Let's go back out 10 years. Now you're starting to see the declines. And these declines are in very specific areas. What people don't want to think about when we're talking about the real estate market, because everybody watches these YouTube channels and they watch too many Toronto real estate channels, they think the condo market's terrible. It's actually not that bad here. It is in Wally, but it's not that bad in other areas. So the townhouse market seems to be holding up okay. But check this out. The detached market is in 12 months of supply across the entire city of Surrey, and that's why we're seeing this dip from April. Even from the beginning of the year. 1.6 million was the benchmark price at the beginning of the year. It's now down $40,000 since then. Not massive. Let's look at average. Average in condos is actually looking really well. Townhouses trending down, detached definitely trending down. Let's go back to that January mark. As my phone rings. 70,000 in average. So there you go. That's what the market's doing. There's plenty available. What I'm hearing, though, from our buyers that are out there is what is available is not pretty. The inventory that's on the market, there's lots of it. There's lots available. What they're saying to us is, but it's just not worth it because it's not pretty. There's not a pride of ownership in the listings that are on the market. And I'm not disagreeing with them. It's totally the case. It's absolutely the case. There's a lot of properties out there. I don't know if it's the owners that are unwilling to do the work. Often that's what it is, because I meet those people every once in a while too. Or if it's the realtors that aren't skilled enough to position the property properly to hit the market in order to show like a 9 or a 10. But I would say the majority of the stuff that is on the market right there that I just showed you, it kind of sucks. It's kind of crappy. It is Friday afternoon. This is a live stream. I'm not going to be here super long, but I wanted to invite you to make comments in the chat, and I'll get to them. I just wanted to show you how much inventory is on the marketplace right now. Anybody that comes to me and says, hey, there's nothing for sale, there's nothing I want to buy, those are two different conversations. There's lots for sale. There's lots for sale. There's just not a lot of really good product out there. And if you're going to try and sell junk product right now, Steve, don't call it junk product. If you're going to try and sell not an 8, 9, or a 10 out of 10, I mean, your price has to be a 10 out of 10. Like, your price has to be stellar. And it's just simply not there. Give me a thumbs up if you're in the chat. I'm going to review a bunch of stats right now until I start getting some sort of comments. And which one do I go to? There we go. Here we go. So this is the city of Surrey. This is the city of Surrey pricing, detached on top, townhouses and condos. You're not seeing that big of a dip. But now maybe we should take a look at places like, let's take a look at Fleetwood. Let's take a look at the areas people want to go. Fleetwood, Cloverdale, and let's do all of South Surrey, White Rock. This is the detached market, just so everybody's aware. Totally the detached market. Now you're starting to see some cracks out there. Now you're starting to see that Cloverdale, and I'm seeing this out there. So I live in Cloverdale. I am seeing what was selling for, let's say, 1.6, 1.65, 1.67 is now under 1.6. So let's say in 3 months, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. I've definitely seen the difference. South Surrey, White Rock, doing the same thing. So let's go back to April. Now, April was a very, very slow time. South Surrey, White Rock, 1.91. Currently, 1.837. How many listings is that? It's 640 listings. That's a lot of listings on the marketplace. Fleetwood, heading downwards. Obviously, South Surrey, White Rock is a very, very large area. So I don't really want to let that skew it. And it's actually Fleetwood that's actually, how many times can I say actually? It's Fleetwood that is the most heavily supplied out of those areas. It's crazy to me, though, that only 7 months of supply on the marketplace. Cloverdale's the one that's kind of seems to be hurting the most. I guess it's only 5.7 year over year. South Surrey, White Rock is down 7.2 in Fleetwood. I mean, if you look on the year over year, they're actually hurting the most right now at 8.5. I got a couple people watching. It's Friday afternoon. It's raining. It's in the middle of the summer. Views are down across YouTube because either people don't like real estate anymore or it's summer. But it's raining. You should all be inside. Leave me a comment. Leave me a heart. Leave me a like. And let's keep going. So that was HPI. Median price all over the map. That's why I hate it. Average price all over the map. Let's do average price rolling over 12 months and see what it does. That smooths out a whole bunch more. Condos not doing too bad if you look at it in that way. Detached, not down that far. Well, the rolling monthly average isn't that bad. Sales, though. They're dragging along the bottom. There's not that few sales in Surrey, even compared to the peak. Like the peak of the market in Fleetwood was 60 sales. In detached, 19. Sure, that's a third. New listings. There's nothing really sticking out here. It's inventory that seems to be remaining high. Nobody's coming off of the market. They're not getting their price, and they're still not coming off of the market. Let's switch this up. Let's look at condos, because condos got to have some bad news, right? Cloverdale condos starting to head down. Fleetwood Fleetwood doesn't have enough condos. Let's change that to Wally. Oh, what did you do? Townhouses. I don't want townhouses. There we go. There you go. That's when you're starting to see those Wally numbers really hurt. This is maybe where I should have started the video, because you want doom and gloom? Go to Wally condos. 439. Let's check out the last time that condos were 439 benchmark pricing. Where do you think? Let me know. Nobody's commenting. This is the longest I've ever gone. Well, it's summer. Nobody wants to. All the real estate agents right now are being like, it's summer. Nobody's doing anything. I think I'm proving that right now. Definitely the listings and sales are proving that right now. Okay, so we saw the peak or sorry, the valley. I'm so used to saying the peak. We saw the valley of 2022, 455. We're currently lower than that. So we have crashed lower than the crash, which was 2022. Everybody's too shy to comment. Okay, so what are we looking for here? We're looking for 439. When is the last time Wally condos were at 439? Well, you get 441. That's the closest. December 2021. So if you bought, let's call it fall 2021 or later, we're now hurting in condos in Wally. Cloverdale, holding up not bad. Comparison. I mean, do you view this as like really a drop in Cloverdale right now? Because I don't think we ever saw this bottom in Cloverdale at 513. From 632 to 513, that's a much bigger drop than now. Right now we're only at 580. I think it's doing okay. Number of sales. Hey, look at that. Sales are picking up. As my good old friend Tom Story always says, sales this year have picked up, and that is true in Cloverdale. That looks to be true in most areas. It's kind of crazy. All right. Nobody wants to talk. I'm going to talk about something else. Has anybody seen the landmark ruling? Anybody seen this? Landmark ruling of property rights in BC. If you don't know about this, here's what's gone on. I believe it was the Cowichan tribe am I going to get in trouble for saying that? Probably. Banned First Nation, Cowichan First Nation, let's say that. They had a land claim for basically what was their summer home, let's call it. So traditionally, I guess the Cowichan tribe came over to the mainland and they would fish in the summer at the mouth of the Fraser River. So they sued and they wanted that land back, I guess you would call it. It took a 500-day trial. It was like this crazy thing. And as a result of this 500-day trial, one judge has awarded them the rights over the land. Now, there's a few things that go wrong with this. One, it was their First Nations summer home. Traditionally, that same area also belonged to the Tsawwassen, and I believe, what's the other one? It escapes me right now. Two other First Nations also now fighting for that same piece of land. But that is not the issue. We've had lots of land claims. We've had lots of reserve areas and treaty areas and things like that. The difference now is the judge has discovered that above fee simple, above individual land rights, above the city of Richmond, and above the Crown sits Indigenous land rights. In other words, saying, in the future, if you have Indigenous bands, let's call it, laying claim to property, this sets precedent that now the land is forfeited to those folks. Meaning that moving forward, all of BC could potentially become Indigenous leasehold land. That is crazy. That is a fundamental change to how our property works. You can argue and say all sorts of things and try and throw in an argument about prejudice or racism or taking land 200 years ago or whatever it is. I'm not going to argue any of that. What I am going to say is it would be a fundamental change and a massive one to property ownership. And I mean, personally, I think it would change anybody wanting to move to BC. I think you would see values plummet. And I don't know. Let me know what you think. Like, does anybody even care about that out there? Like, does anybody honestly even give a rip? Because this is something that is so fundamental. If you own a property in British Columbia, this is so fundamental to your actual ownership. Let me know if you even care, because I don't think anybody does. Because I think they're going to start to view it as, well, it's something like the Crown. Because, we still are granted our property from His Majesty, technically. Even though, of course, King Charles ain't coming back anytime soon to steal our land. Steal it back. It's his, so he can't steal it. But is it any different than that? Or do you think there's actually going to be claims made against individual people's property? Don't know. I really don't know which way to take that right now. It's going to be interesting. I guess nobody cares. Nobody's commenting. Nobody's clicking the like button. If nobody cares about it, then what will happen over time is I think we're gonna have more claims on privately owned property, and eventually, I mean, there's already in the ruling, there's already been identified principal residences, farms, and other things. It sounds like in the news it was supposed to be like fishing rights. It was more than fishing rights. It's land. It's like something like 800 acres. So could change the way we do real estate. We could be registering every single property in the future with a First Nation treaty, which means every single property, even the one you own currently, you may have to lease in the future off of the First Nation. You think that's right? Think that's wrong? I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know what to think. All right, let's talk a little bit about what we're seeing out there. This week in real estate has likely been the slowest week I have seen for showings this year. Now, real estate agents are going to tell you that's because it's summer. I don't really know that that's the case. I don't think weather or vacations or anything really stops the overwhelming majority of people from making a real estate transaction. I really don't think that's the case. But it's really easy for real estate agents to say, oh, it's spring break, it's summer break, that's why we're not doing it. Like, for sure there's something there, but it's not taking your showings across all listings down, 80%. It's definitely not. So it's more than that. David says prices going to go down. Prices are already going down, David. I appreciate that. Prices are definitely going down. There's no saying that they're not going down. They're continuing to trend down. What I'm trying to figure out is, as prices go down, how will this year resemble other years? And the only thing that I can really think about right now when it comes to how will this resemble other years is it feels a lot like 2019. Well, what happened in 2019? 2019 followed 2018, where the market was quite busy, and then interest rates went up. People don't remember, in 2017, 2018, Trump was down there too. There was a whole bunch of tariffs put in. There was the same steel tariffs put in then that we have now. Same sort of thing. Economy started to slow down. Things kind of went for a dump at the end of 2018. 2019 was one of the slowest, crappiest years in real estate. So that's what it feels like this year. And then, okay, so what happened? Well, the second half, particularly starting in September in the fall market, things started to get better, a little bit better. Then they got better. Then they got even better. And in December of 2019, January of 2020, and February of 2020, before all the craziness happened, before there was lockdowns, before there was all of that stuff, the market picked up. The market picked up because it was at very, very low prices coming down, similar to today. Inventory, not similar to today. Quite a bit less than today. But everything was much slower. Everything was coming down in price. And then after 12 months of that, guess what? It stops. Stuff gets back to normal. Now, the part where I don't think is obviously going to happen is we go back into what then happened in March, which was insanity, basically zero interest rates or negative interest rates, if you want to talk about them, real against inflation or whatever you want to say. And then at that point, April, May came around. People realized the world wasn't coming to an end. They had all this money. They needed places to live. They wanted more space because they had to stay at home. That was the next thing that happened. So then the market took off. So Obviously, I'm not saying that's going to happen again. It's not going to happen again. But could it be by the end of this year, beginning of next year, much like the end of 2019, beginning of 2020? It very well could. David apparently is the only person. There's like 27 people. Nobody can even give me a thumbs up. Come on, guys. Except for David. Thank you, David. I appreciate you, even though you're probably just going to say negative stuff right now. That's fine. The run-up from 2020 was nuts. So was the run-up from 2014 through 2018. Surely it has to revert to the mean. Why? There's no reason it has to revert. There's no reason it has to revert. The people I know make more money. Money has been printed. Jobs have been made. Public jobs have been made. Immigration is like pre-COVID. What was Canada? 36 million people. Now we're 42 plus, and that's only on paper. Inflation. So if inflation is going up, why do house prices need to come down? That doesn't make any sense. Inflation is going up. The dollar value of the dollar is going down, which means eventually the prices need to go up. It's actually a very good argument for borrowing even more debt right now, because then you're deflating someone else's money and you acquire an asset, which eventually, if inflation goes crazy, will pick up. Let's talk a little bit about pre-COVID, post-COVID stuff. Pre-COVID, I think $70,000. Two people making $70,000 each. So let's call it even $120,000 to $140,000 household income. You weren't killing it, but you were doing okay. You made it. You got by. What is that now? It's not 200. 200 is not enough. 200 homeowners making 200 are scraping by. That shows you how far your money's actually probably gone down. Faith, love your stuff. Thank you so much. I check out your vids every now and then. Every now and then? Well, I hope they come out. They come out more than now and then. They come out every week. So hopefully you check out more. I regret buying a high-rise condo unit in Wally. Okay. Faith, I don't think you were my client, so I'm sorry that you got advised poorly on that one. I mean, there were people that bought at the peak. It happened. I don't buy. I have never personally chosen to invest in Wally. I see why people do it. I personally do not do it. I personally don't want to do it, and I have very specific reasons for who I want my tenants to be. I don't want to be in an oversaturated market, which I think anything with density is. So personally, I wouldn't buy there. If I had to live there and I needed to be near the train, hopefully I didn't buy at the peak. People are scared, holding on to their money. They're holding on to their devaluing money. That's right. We have not lived like this before. Who has not lived like this before? Plenty of people have lived like this before. Most people have lived in much worse conditions like this before. Us spoiled Canadians like myself, who was born in 1980 and have lived my life pretty well, maybe has not lived like this before. My dad's generation definitely did at one point. My grandparents' generation went through much worse, wars and whatnot. Yeah, I actually think this is good. The reason I think this is a good cycle to go through is hopefully it will teach people to appreciate what they have. And everything can't just be spending money and pickup trucks and getting whatever you want. And like the amount of stuff we have these days compared to 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 100 years ago is insane. So I don't necessarily think bad economic times is bad for everybody. It really, it could help a lot of people learn to live like Dave Ramsey a little bit. You know what I mean? Like learn to live within your means. I think there's a whole lot of people that don't live within their means. Vicus, nice name. I like it. Vicus, in a cooling market. Does it sound better if I speak this way? I don't. In a cooling market where prices continue to drop week after week, month after month, maybe year after year, how do you effectively persuade someone to buy rather than wait? Well, I don't persuade anybody to buy, I would say. My job is not persuasion. My job is helping people that want to transact in real estate. But let's talk about the realtor talking points of buying in a down market. If your only metric is getting higher value for your money later, that I only want to buy an appreciating asset, then right now is a bad time to buy. That's it. However, that shouldn't be your only metric. One, let's say the realtor thing. Definitely, rent is 100% interest. So rent's in the garbage. Half of your mortgage payment is usually going towards principal. Maybe less than half right now. At previous to mortgage rates being 4+%, it was half. Then the asset's devaluing. If you're in a tenanted property, the amount of people being evicted because the landlords can no longer hold the property. You're being evicted because somebody else is new and coming in and buying that property. If I had kids, I wouldn't want that eviction notice. In BC here, it's a little crazy. It's 3 months or 4 months, depending on the situation, before you get evicted. The owner wants to take back the property. 4 months, you're out. There's that. Nobody can tell me to get out of my house unless I don't pay my mortgage. It's the only thing. How about this one? This is one that people on the internet pretend doesn't happen. I talked about it earlier. Pride of ownership. Nothing makes you feel better than knowing that you own the property that you live in. Well, that's not true. Having kids makes you feel better. But you feel really good and accomplished about yourself if you live in a property and you're like, this is mine. That is worth something. It is definitely worth something. You can say it's not. You can say, I want the freedom of being a renter. Cool. If you want that, take that lifestyle. That's fine. It's just, I have a whole lot of time, I guess, or a lot of respect for people that know and love the feeling of homeownership, because I do. And then I would say the real realtor argument is the next run-up's going to come at some point. We don't know when it is. And you're going to get caught in another frenzy eventually or whatever. If you miss the years of the run-up, you're out, right? You're in trouble. You're way far behind. You don't know when they're going to come. They're probably not going to come this year. Probably not going to come next year. But at some point in time, you're going to miss that run-up. And I've got lots of clients that waited through 2015-16 because the market was too hot and they paid double later, and then they waited again through 2021, 2022, and now they're completely out of the market. They're renters for life. It happens. Give you an example. I have friends. I'm 45 years old. I bought my first place at 25 years old. I had lots of friends that waited until 35 years old. I'm miles ahead of them because they missed run-ups. So I would definitely say that those are all factors. Price is not the only reason. Do you want a roof over your head? A lot of people just want to play. Like for me, I would never pay rent. I never am interested in paying rent. No matter what the market's doing, I am a homeowner. I'm going to pay myself first. I'm going to pay the bank first, then I'm going to pay myself. So if you're only looking at price, I get who knows how many people every month that reach out to me, and then when they hear prices are going down, they stop. If you're buying just because prices are going to go up, I think you're buying for the wrong reason. They will go up over time, just so you know. That's coming back too. If everybody thinks it's this real estate price or less for the rest of your life, you're my tenant when I'm 80. Good luck. B8 addict. Ooh, I hope B8 isn't a drug. Just ended up getting an accepted offer on a townhouse in Fleetwood. Listed in April for $950. Ended up accepting my offer at $840. Great. That's fantastic. Congratulations. Thanks for not calling me. Should have called me. Would have loved to help. I would suggest that if you got an accepted offer now at $840 and they were listed for $950 in April, they were probably worth $840 in April. They were probably at least worth $850 in April. So you've done a great job. Welcome. David is commenting a lot. Be like David. Just say happier things. I enjoy watching the Tom Story Show every week. Thank you so much. If you are watching this channel and you don't know my other channel, it is called the Tom Story Show. And we got a banger coming out this week. Should be good. Every Sunday. I may not agree with a lot of your predictions. David, I don't think you've agreed with anything here. But appreciate what you guys put out. Also, don't you find it odd since the election how Pierre has gone very quiet? Well, Pierre's just in a riding trying to get back in at the moment. So I think anybody looking for Pierre Poilievre to be the savior is kind of foolish. So I don't know. I mean, he was on the Looney Hour the other day. That was crazy. What a good get for those guys. I mean, he doesn't... When you think, this is going to get very political, but when you think about what the Liberals did in order to keep Parliament out so Pierre Poilievre could not grandstand in Parliament, as far as politics go, genius. I didn't vote for him, but in the old saying goes, what was that show? It was Monty Python's Holy Grail. Who are you? I'm your king. Well, I didn't vote for you. It kind of feels how it is here now. Lynn from earlier talking about this generation. Yeah, we have not lived like this before. This generation has not had to take accountability for itself before. So now hopefully they do. Prospective first-time buyer here, says Trevor, but I think I'm on the sidelines for now. You and everybody else. And that's why we don't have a hot market. Thanks, Trevor. Trevor, I do recommend, if you're a prospective first-time buyer now and you didn't experience trying to put in offers through 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, or 2020, 2021, and part of 2022, and then part of 2023, you don't know how good you got it right now. Just the whole process. So right now, pretty good time to actually get an offer accepted. I would definitely say there's not enough value put on the fact that I can go out and look at properties and pick the one I want and negotiate a deal and do my due diligence and then live in the home. And it's all was it going to be worth more by the time I move in? What's it going to be worth in a year? Get that out of your head, man. Can you make the payment? Yes. Do you like where you live? Yes. Can you get what you think is a fair price on a home at the time? Oh, everything's overpriced. Yeah, everything's always overpriced. Go back, Google, YouTube, Vancouver house prices, 1980. Everybody's always overpriced. Nothing changes. Politicians are liars and everybody complains about everything. Welcome to Canada. Trevor, get off the sidelines. Start looking into it. Home ownership will give you something, well, unless maybe you live at home and you're stacking chips and mom's paying for everything. No job security anymore. Don't get any sympathy from a self-employed person, sorry. Looking out at the backyard while drinking a morning coffee feels great. B, the letter B. This announcement brought to you by the letter B. Always behind A. But first is the worst, second is the best. B, I couldn't agree with you more. Sitting on my back deck, drinking a coffee in the morning, or more importantly, sitting on my back deck, drinking a scotch at night, or a glass of wine at night with my beautiful wife. It's what it's all about, man. If you don't put any value on that, maybe renters just don't put value on that. They're doing other things. But then again, they probably don't know the value of feeling that because they haven't felt it. Not to put everybody in a box. Maybe some people owned a home and then went to renter. A friend of mine, a very smart friend of mine, who, actually the same guy that said, hey, you better borrow as much money as you can, because the money's devaluing so fast that you may as well devalue somebody else's money and own the asset. Thought that was pretty smart. He also says to me, home ownership is simple. Mortgages go down, rents go up. Now, if you mishear that, you're thinking, oh, well, rates can go up and payments can go. Yeah, no, that's not what he means. Principal on your mortgage goes down over your life. Rents that you pay monthly over your life go up. It's that simple. So at 85 years old, do you want to be paying, let's say right now, decent rent on a one-bedroom place in the city of Surrey is $1,700-1,800. Now let's extrapolate that times my lifetime. So let's say best case scenario, $4,500 by the time I'm 80. Am I wanting to pay $4,500 a month by the time I'm 80 every single month and risk being evicted when I can barely, when I'm wearing diapers? Probably not. B has the best comment of the day. You win the comments. Click the like button. 27 people watching. I'm only going to last for about another 10 minutes because it's the weekend and I want to go too. Does that say quarter mile? Is that what that's supposed to mean? I work 2 jobs. Congratulations, you're a hard worker. Sold my condo in 2021. Before the peak, but okay. I'm hoping that that's a good thing. With the prices dipping over the last 4 years, I finally feel in a good position. Cool. Quarter mile, if you're still listening, tell me where you sold your condo. If it's in the Lower Mainland, I will look up the area and we will find out where you're at. Tell me also the month you sold and then whether or not, well, I'll look it up if you're still here. I'll see where you will likely be or not be in regards to, positioning yourself back into the market. Louise, love this podcast. Thank you. I prefer to call them videos. Podcast is the other channel. Shoot, I missed your show. Watch, replay. The beginning was tough. The beginning of this was tough. Nobody was commenting. I had 12 people for the first 15 minutes, and it was terrible. So skip past the first 15 minutes, and then you'll be okay. Here we go. I sold in North Delta, buying a townhouse in Surrey. Sold February 2021. Cool. Let's do this right now. Thank you so much, Quarter Mile. I'm going to look up North Delta. I guess you guys probably want to see this. Okay, let's go in North Delta. If you want to get more specific, I'm looking up all of North Delta right now. And you said apartment. There's not a lot of apartments in North Delta, so this is going to be a tough one. And let's go out more than 5 years. So you said you sold in, where is it? Feb of 2021. There we go. So in February of 2021, let's make sure I'm on apartment. I am on apartment. The benchmark price in North Delta was $456,500. Currently, the benchmark price for a condo is $100,000 more. Oh, 2022. He's like, wait a minute. No, I didn't sell in 2021. 2022. Yeah, that's what I sold. Okay. Yeah, that's what I meant. That's funny. I don't know how I screwed that up. Well, hopefully it's a big difference. Okay, so let's say you sold. So you sold at the peak of the peak of the peak of the peak. You're the guy that hit the lotto. You cashed out at that time. Great. Yeah, sure you did. Sure you did, Quarter Mile. I sold at the peak. After I bring up the chart, he tells me what time he sold. Okay, sure. I get it. 618. Okay, so in theory, you're saving $50,000. How much have you paid in rent between now and then? Just asking for a friend. Okay, so now, let's say you had, now I will say, the buy-ins of South Surrey townhomes at the peak of the market was insane. So probably doing good not buying there. So let's say you would have bought at the same time. Did I click townhomes? Townhomes in South Surrey, White Rock at that time were $1,044,000 or $100,000. So in theory, the person that perfectly timed the market, and you're thinking about getting the market back now, there's a possibility if you did the same trade today, or sorry, if you actually did that, sold when you said you did, and bought in now, you're putting $150,000 in your pocket minus transfer taxes, realtor fees. So let's say you're putting 110,000, 120,000 in your pocket. Great. I would want to counteract that by looking at the rent you've paid, if you have, over the period of time versus the, at that time, could have got a 1.49% interest rate for the last 5 years. If you're going to do dollars for dollars on that, great. There was a unit. Okay. Did he even say what he sold for? I don't know. Or she. Could be a he or she. Not going to say. There was a unit in my building that sold for just over 900. I ended up selling. Oh, there you go. You answered my question. I ended up selling for 750. By no means won the lotto. Rates were already climbing. Yeah, rates were climbing. By that, no. Rates weren't climbing till March 2022. Gotcha. I guess fixed rates probably were a little bit. So there you go. Oh, I was so small in that. You didn't see all my winks, and I was like, "You're a bullshitter." I get it. 27 people here only. I'm gonna wrap up soon, but you know what? Let's enter a few more questions. Like that was a fun one. That was actually like I get to see that Quarter Mile apparently is the genius of the marketplace and saved $150,000 and now gets to brag to his or her friends about all that wonderful stuff. So that's kind of fun. I like that. And good for you. If you did that, that's great. I just think that over that period of time, I mean, maybe you're selling, I don't know why you sold or what you thought the right thing was, or if you got overwhelmed with the market and buying back in. You are the reason people buy lotto tickets, and every lotto ticket I've ever bought's a loser. So anyway, if there's going to be no more questions, come on, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to enter in maybe another question or two. Otherwise, I got to get off to see my kids, go for dinner, and go to jiu-jitsu class tonight. So I'm going to be the fat old guy in jiu-jitsu class. The sale was driven by bad pre-sale quality, nothing to do with the market timing. Oh, okay. Well, great. Yeah, pre-sales, man. I've been saying since the beginning of my career, because when I got licensed, it was December 2008. I didn't know the financial crisis even went on because I was a moron. Probably still am a moron. Definitely still am a moron. But I watched friends that bought these pre-sales in 05, 06, and they completed in 08, 09, 2010, and they lost their shirts on them. So my experience getting into the market was pre-sales are bad. And I kept that my whole career. And there are other guys, many of them are prominent here on YouTube, that they got into the business in the middle of the pre-sale frenzy, and they sold everybody a pre-sale, and they made a buttload of money. And now they're turning around going, oh, pre-sale's bad. How could that ever happen? So the hypocrisy is definitely out there. Definitely out there. Oh, look at that. We got a little... Look, that motivated you guys. See, this is why you do a call to action. Everybody, I said, I've only got 2 more minutes, and then everybody goes and dumps some stuff in the comments. So let me take a look here real quick. Is Surrey market going to crash more? What do you mean by crash? Is Surrey market going down? Yes. The crash happened. Like, let me show you this, guys. The crash happened. The prices are going down, yes. But the crash, if you're talking the crash, all priced in the, let's call it Surrey combined. Like, look at that. So this is all property types across the entire city of Surrey. The crash was here. The crash was March 2022 to January 2023. Now we're just kind of, we've seen some bumps along the road. And yeah, we're down from there for sure. But the crash has happened. I think we're going to continue this downward slide for a while. And I don't think it's a bad thing. It's bad if you bought in 2022, but house prices coming down is not a bad thing for the overall society. It's really not. Housing, more affordable, good thing. Okay, who else we got here? Says 47 watching on my end. Really? Well, mine says a lot less than that. So thank you so much. I hope there's 47 watching, and I hope I should have 47 likes clicked in the next minute. There's that little heart right beside the thing. Just hit the heart thing. I get to see a heart come up, and it goes bloop, and it makes me feel good, and then I do more of these. My next week video, by the way, shot it today. Banger. I special request anybody here. My next week video, probably Wednesday. Everybody, click and like. Subscribe. You're already subscribed, but like that one. Share it with your friends. I worked hard on it. It's a really good message too. Single family and Ocean Park. How much in this market? Well, I would say anywhere from, I'm looking in Ocean Park for myself right now because I'm considering a move. Single family Ocean Park right now, anywhere from, you can buy a house for 1.5 million to 25 million. So let's go Ocean Park. That's Crescent Beach, Ocean Park. Or are we, sorry, I'm thinking also Elgin. Chantrell, kind of that same sort of area. Did I click detached? I did. All over the map. Crescent Beach, Ocean Park, kind of going down. Elgin, kind of, so they're not going anywhere. What I have noticed is the expensive properties are remaining fairly expensive, and the mid-range properties are coming down to be more affordable. So there you go. We didn't see the same crash in Surrey as Brampton. Are you sure about that? Why BC market holding up? Why not crashing like Toronto? Because half of the stuff you hear about market crashing in Toronto is bull crap. It's only condos, and it's only investor-style condos in Toronto. I will say Brampton and Surrey probably have similar demographics. There's all sorts of talk about, mortgage fraud in those two cities. Is it there? Is it not there? I don't know. I think you're just watching too many horror stories here. My first time watching your lives. Nice Q&A. Thank you so much. The beginning sucked until people started actually talking in here, and then it got better. The Q&As are better, but getting people to motivate to actually say something in the comments the first time is very, very difficult when there's only 2 or 3 people in the room. Mine still says 27 at the moment for some reason, but whatever. YouTube, fix your stuff. That looks like a bear pennant if I ever seen one, whatever that means. How's Chilliwack doing for buyer? Let's look at Chilliwack. So a lot of our clients have been, so something that has come back right now. Chilliwack, can I get all of Chilliwack? East Chilliwack. Let's look at, no, that's East Chilliwack. Something that, let's look at Sardis, because Sardis is a good spot for Chilliwack. Oh, I know why I never show Chilliwack, because they don't do HPI. Thank you so much. Here's average price for Chilliwack. A lot of people are starting to do the move. So when I first got in the business, you would leave Surrey, you would go to Chilliwack, you would put $100 grand in your pocket, $200 grand in your pocket, you'd be happy, and then you'd get some money. That's starting to come back. During the pandemic, that was not a thing. This is why I don't show Chilliwack, because their stats suck. They're also a different real estate board. They don't do as good of a job, and average pricing and median pricing also suck. They do not do benchmark pricing. Their inventory is just getting into a buyer's market. Their active listings are fairly high. Their sales are okay. So there's opportunity in Chilliwack. But their real estate board kind of sucks. I love you, Chilliwack Real Estate Board. I don't mean that. What kind of questions are you talking? Buying, selling, or rentals? Well, I don't do rentals, so good luck. Please educate sellers to be realistic and list price accordingly. My entire life is spent educating sellers to list realistically. Good luck. If foreign home buyers were so few as everyone used to say before, why are developers asking for them? I thought there was no impact whatsoever. Nobody said there was no impact whatsoever. They said it was less than 5%. And that's less than 5% of the MLS. The MLS is what we get to see. We have no idea what developers do. I have a very specific thought on developers. I think that if the current system doesn't work without foreign buyers, then you need to get a new business model. They don't want to do that. They want to prop up what they were doing. Nobody's going to buy development. Here's the thing. Without investors, whether or not they're foreigners or not, without investors, you get no new product built because Bastos, I assume you're not buying your own principal residence in a high rise for 8 years down the road. Fair statement? So we need investors. If we don't have investors, these places don't get built. Simple as that. So I think they should change their business model. I think they should find a way to build product that people want to buy and live in now. What do you do? Let's go to another one here. Which area of Surrey is best apart from South Surrey? Mixed demographics. Less, I believe, racist words you're trying to say there. I mean, like it or not, everything has definitely changed across all of Canada. That we've seen mass immigration, and you definitely have. I mean, it's a real thing. So if you don't like certain people, if you don't like folks from India, if you don't like folks from China, if you don't like folks from the Philippines, if you don't like all of those things, you're not going to like the Lower Mainland. You're definitely not going to like Surrey. So wrong place for you. Simple as that. Don't know what else to tell you. There's a big mixing pot of people. If you like it or you don't like it, 100 Mile House, let me tell you, if you only want to see, white folks that were born in Prince George, move to Prince George. Move to 100 Mile House. I don't know what to tell you. Chilliwack seems to have good value now. Getting brand new detached homes at $1 million with legal suites. Okay. A bear pennant is a technical analysis term for prices. Cool. There's all sorts of them. There's head and shoulders. There's dead cat bounce. There's blah, 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 blah. I'm going to leave you with this thought. Harrison Homes. I was actually up in Harrison. I don't know anything about it. Too far away from me. The smartest guys I've ever met, one of the smartest guys I've ever met, was an economist. Brilliant, schooled economist. He was a professor at a university at one point. Brilliant guy. Nicest guy. Loved him. His name was Jorge. Great guy. When I met him, he couldn't figure out how to keep his shipping receiving job. So he had this brilliant mind all about the economy and how everything worked and his perfect view of the world and what house prices should be and what stock prices should be and everything. Couldn't figure out how to really stay employed and keep a good job. So there's brilliant people out there that, who knows? They just can't necessarily keep it together. And as all the racist comments come in about Surrey, that's enough of losers out there. So I'm going to go. Thanks so much for watching. If you watch back in the live stream, click the like button. Let me know you got to the end. Bye for now.